Man, oh man, what a wild ride. Inflation, jobs, the mortgage rates. What a great year, 2026. We're off to a great start, Michael. What is your take on January 16th, Friday, 2026? What is your take on all of this?
Well, at this moment, you got to look at inflation being better than expected. The job market is holding in better than I expected, and mortgage rates took a noticeable drop in the last 7 days. So I mean, it's there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of real estate stuff going on as we head into the spring selling season. I'm hearing from more and more real estate agents and mortgage brokers that business really picked up the last couple of weeks. So it'll be interesting if this is just the kind of the beginning of the spring selling season, or if something bigger changed.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So I got to say, it's noticeable here. People on both sides, sellers are unlocking a little bit. It's noticeable.
Yeah.
And then also buyers are even deals that canceled, came back and bought the same deal because of pricing, and they were able to make the numbers work. So
Nice.
let's get into the show. Let's talk about inflation. Let's talk about CPI. What happened what is it, first of all? Somebody's new. And what happened?
Yeah, so CPI stands for Consumer Price Index. You could think about this as what do you pay at the grocery store, right? You're going through checkout. That is what the consumers pay. And, to tell this whole story about CPI this month, we have to remind folks that last month's number came in really low. Every expert was wrong, and they were wrong by a mile, something like 0.3, which in the world of CPI is it's a 2 standard deviation miss. It was gigantic. And because everybody missed, everybody was blaming the data is dirty. The data is dirty. Too many assumptions. It's going to come back and bite us next month. Well, we got next month, and it didn't. It simply didn't, right? CPI headline stayed even at 2.7. And core, which was the number they had expected to explode higher, they expected it to go from 2.6 to 2.8. That's a pretty big move for a single month, and probably would have justified people saying that the previous month was dirty. It didn't budge at all. It stayed at 2.6. And then the last thing I will tell everyone is, again, if you really want to know what's going on in inflation, you need to maybe once a week check a site called Truflation, TRUflation. And they just posted an update for the week, and it's now 1.55. 1.55. Now, what is Truflation? They're essentially a real-time data aggregator. They have something like 100 different data sources and 7 million data points. It's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But again, as I've been harping on for a year, maybe 18 months, rent is just shelter is grossly overreported. It's not 3.6. It's -1. And hence, inflation, when you correct for math, is less than 2%. And Truflation is showing that.
That's positive, man. Inflation, it's finally under control, or at least for now. Talk about, PPI, what is it and what happened?
Yeah, so PPI is Producer Price Index. You could think of this as what the grocery store pays their wholesaler, right? So again, CPI is you at the register. PPI is the grocery store at their vendors. You can think of it that way.
Okay.
And PPI was a little hotter than expected, which could be seen as a leading indicator. Okay. But again, the numbers are, headline was at 3 and core was at 3.5. Those numbers, frankly, are not good. Not good. However, when you go inside the numbers, 80% of the increase was energy. And I don't know if anybody's checked out what's going on with oil and gas lately. They've been down.
Yep.
So this just seems like a data transitory issue, right? When you think of oil, gas, heating oil, all of them are down in the last month. So this number probably will self-correct into next report. But yeah, I mean, on the face value, CPI was great. PPI was not good.
Interesting. Very interesting twist. So do you feel like with the CPI and the PPI number that overall, though, going back to Truflation, that we are still in a stable inflation environment, at least what it appears to be for the first quarter of 26?
I think it's even more than that. If people remember my call for 2026, I thought inflation would surprise to the downside, and it is. I mean, I honestly did not think Truflation would print 1.55. by the middle of January. I did not see that coming. That is a crazy number, right? Especially when you hear the Fed say, we can't declare victory. We're worried. We're nervous. I mean, dude, just freaking correct for shelter and you're there. So no, I think inflation's actually a much better story. And this is disinflation. We're actually having some deflation. Like shelter is deflation, right? There's inflation, disinflation, and deflation.
Right.
Inflation, everybody knows, right? 9.1%. Disinflation is simply the rate of change lowering, but deflation is negative numbers. And we have negative numbers in rent.
Interesting.
And the data is just not showing it.
Interesting. Very interesting. Are you still doing and I haven't seen him in a while, but with the Uneducated Economist?
Yeah, once in a while. Yeah, I can reach out to him anytime. Yeah, I haven't done one in a while, but now that you say that, I'll take a note to ping him. Yeah.
I think so. I want to hear his thoughts because he just seems like he always has a couple of twists and turns on when we're talking about inflation. So let's keep going with the show notes. Retail sales. What happened this week?
Yeah, again, retail sales is, obviously the indicator for consumers. It's always one that we look at going, how healthy is the consumer? For years now, people have been telling us the consumer is dead, and the consumer just continues to not be dead. Right. It was expected to be up 0.4 and it was up 0.6, better than expected. Autos rebounded, right? There was some pull forward of auto demand earlier in the year because of tax credits and the like, but autos came back. And, we never underestimate the U.S. consumer. They once again exceed expectations.
So I can recall maybe several weeks ago, you and I do a show and we talk about the retail sales and how it slowed down. And then I go to downtown Walnut Creek, which is kind of a shopping area. And I'm going to meet my buddies for, have a drink and watch a ball game. And I can't find a parking spot. The streets are busy. And I'm just like, what's going on with this economy, man? People are still, I can't even park. So anyway, we're going to keep an eye on it. Let's keep going. Let's talk about new home sales. What happened with new home sales? And what are you seeing right now with new homes?
Yeah. So again, this data is still pretty old. They're still catching up from the government shutdown.
Yeah.
The thing about the new home sales is the last print we got before the shutdown was a monster.
Yeah.
I think it was like 808,000. Yeah. It was 150,000 more than expected. It was a massive beat. And everybody and the brother, including myself, was like, this number is getting revised because that's not happening. And it did get revised, but it didn't get revised by much. I think it went to like 760 or 738 or something like that. Yeah. When we were expecting something in the high fives. So again, low sevens when you're expecting high fives or low sixes, still a massive beat. But again, new home sales, once again, beat expectations. They were expected to come in at 710. They came in at 737. Frankly, any number above 650 is positive. Right. Again, the big thing for 2026, and I have to harp on this until people get it. The real estate market, real estate in total is about 13% of United States GDP.
Okay.
For 2.5 to 3 years, 1/8 of our economy has been in a depression. That means 7/8 of our economy has been posting positive GDP numbers, right? Because again, think about the last 8 quarters. GDP has been positive. In fact, the last GDP print was like 5.2 or something wild like that. But that is still with 1/8 of our economy in a depression.
Right.
My feeling, my guess, my prediction, my whatever, is real estate will be a positive contributor to GDP in 2026. Yeah. And we are seeing that already in Q1.
I believe it. I believe. I believe this next piece. This is the one I've been waiting for. What happened? Give us the reports on existing home sales. And of course, your take on what it means.
Yeah. So existing home sales is the one I've been following because I made a ballsy call, I think in March, maybe April, that August of 2025 would finally be the bottom for transactions. And again, this is transactions, not price. Some people lose their mind. But again, remember, I'm an economist. And real estate is 1/8 of the economy. So transactions mean something to me. I know a lot of you get pissed off because, I'm telling you prices will be flat and you're all flabbergasted and upset. It's not my problem. I'm watching the economy.
Right.
And so an August bottom call was really ballsy. And now we can say with pretty good certainty that it was dead on, smack on. We've had 5 months in a row of growth. In fact, December, get this, Ty, December was the best month in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
It wasn't the best December in the last 3 years. It was the best month in the last 3 years.
Yeah.
So to think about December existing home sales. So these are closings. These aren't pendings. These aren't contracts.
Mhm.
These are closed at escrow.
Yeah.
These deals were locked up in October and November.
Yep.
Why is that important? Because what has happened since then? Rates have come down somewhere between 20, 30, maybe even 35 basis points.
Yep.
We've seen mortgage applications for purchase increase dramatically. So
Yep.
we have positive momentum. You just talked about your market where sellers and buyers are starting to agree. Sellers are coming back, buyers are coming back.
Yep.
So let's get to the numbers. So for the year, right? We can now talk 2025 year. We did 4.07 million transactions. I thought we would do 4 million ish.
Yeah, you called it plus or minus 4 million. Yeah.
Yep, nailed it. And I called that early in the year. Early in the year. So again, I think there's every chance. Again, I'm actually going to increase. So and January 1st, I said I thought we would do 7 to 8% more transactions, which would mean we do like 4.3 ish.
Yeah. Yep.
I'm now going to go 10 to 12%.
Yep.
Because I just think there's so much momentum. So I think we might do 4.4 to 4.5 million.
Yeah.
And again, that's positive contribution to GDP. So the numbers for December annualized, they were expected to be 4.22. And again, remember, best month in 3 years, they came in at 4.35. That is positive momentum.
Yes.
And then just because everybody wants to talk about price was up 0.4% year on year, which again, what did I call at the beginning of the year? Plus or minus 1%.
Yeah.
It's just where we are.
So good, man. So good. I'm glad to be rolling with you, man. Glad to be rolling with you. I got to say that it's interesting because you called a 7, NAR called a 14% in terms of transaction volume for 26. And I was just kind of like optimistic, right? You got to remember, I'm your student when it comes to these things. And I'm like, man, it'd be nice if we hit like a 10, like somewhere in between the 7, 8, 9, 10. So it feels like the start of the year feels like that. It definitely feels like, again, no matter what, it's going to be a great year for all of the investor, one rental at a time, realtor, real estate professionals, mortgage brokers. If you're doing the work, this is going to be a great year, what we've been praying for. Let's continue. This was an interesting one. President Trump, obviously a lot of news. It's great to see that housing's a top level topic.
Front and center. Yep.
Yeah, for the whole entire nation, right? It's front and center. It feels like it's number one now, or at least for us anyway.
Seems like.
The ban on institutional single family housing. What happened? What's your take? What's your feedback? What's even some of the new whispers? Where are we at on this ban on hedge funds and private equity coming to play in the single family housing market?
I have lots of thoughts. First and foremost, I think we need to acknowledge that every politician, including President Trump, wants to win the next election.
Yep.
Right. And for him, the next election is the midterms.
Yep.
He understands that if he loses the midterms, his last 2 years as president are going to be miserable. If they're not already miserable. I couldn't imagine being president. Talk about a job I don't want. Crazy.
Yeah. He probably loves it, but yeah.
he might like the chaos. That's true.
Yeah.
But I couldn't imagine. My head would explode. Crazy. But that said, he's trying to win an election.
Yep.
He realizes that affordability is his Achilles heel. That's his weakness. Yeah. Right. The average American consumer really can't look at what's going on in the economy and say, hey, the last 12 months, I feel better. That's a weakness of his.
Yep.
So he knows he has to go tackle that head on. So, he's throwing a lot of shit against the wall. Some of it will stick, some of it won't. Yep. I think in this particular case, he's reaching across the aisle to Democrats like Bernie Sanders, Elizabeth Warren, and the ilk, trying to, show that he's, being bipartisan, because this is something they've talked about for a long time, right? Yeah. Banning institutions. It's a great tagline, right?
Yeah.
Institutions don't live in houses, people do, right? That was, I think, almost a direct quote, if not direct.
Yeah.
And, you could see that said on every campaign stage for the next 11 months. So given the chess move of winning the election, makes total sense. Now, if you step back and ask from an economist perspective, a housing expert opinion, it's going to do almost nothing.
Right.
Just nothing. Because if you actually read the post, it basically said they can't buy any more.
Correct.
So you are removing some demand from the market, but guys, you got to look at the numbers. And thanks to Lance Lambert from Resi Club, these institutions, this is a fact, have been a net seller the last 2 quarters.
Correct.
So they're already not buying.
Right.
They're net sellers.
Realizing their gains.
Yeah, they're realizing their gains. They're shrinking their portfolio. They're consolidating to cities. They're not doing the 1-off, 2-off like they used to. So again, I think it's a tremendous chess move if you're looking at this from a political optics, win the election.
Yep.
But if you're looking at it from housing affordability, make it cheaper, blah, 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 it does freaking nothing. It's just a big fat nothing burger. In fact, the only thing that could happen here that would be something is if you made them forced sellers.
Yes. There we go.
Now, then that's nowhere. That's not being talked about. That doesn't mean it can't happen.
Right.
It would certainly be fought in the courts.
Yep.
Because that's not, what the free market is.
Correct.
But, if you just wave a magic wand, and not only can they not buy, but they can be a forced seller and a forced seller in the next 12 months. So you not only make them sell, but you give them an end date to be, flat or at zero. That will hurt markets like Atlanta and Jacksonville and some markets, but that's not coming, I don't think.
Yeah. The truth is exactly what you said. It's a great headline. I didn't think about the bipartisanship, but you're right. Hey, the evil institutions and Wall Street and private equity, that absolutely makes sense as a headline for bipartisanship. But the big picture is, in terms of institutional buyers in the last probably 2 or 3 years, they've been less than 1% of the market in acquisitions. And the truth is, if people don't know your history about when 2008, when the market crashed, they were a real big part of the bailout. They were the ones that stabilized housing and came in and bought up, a bunch of inventory.
I remember the day. I still remember the first time because again, it was just such a repetitive process. Every Monday morning at 7:30 or 7:15, the Fresno MLS would load what they called a new tape. The new tape would be the latest 50 to 100 foreclosures. It was so routine. I did this for 60 weeks, 65 weeks, every week.
Yeah.
And I would go in, I'd find the ones that hit my buy box. I would write offers that were 19% below list price. Why 19? Because I learned they wouldn't accept 20, but they'd accept 19. And dude, I was buying a house, twice a month, maybe 3 a month sometimes.
Yeah. And
then all of a sudden out of nowhere, freaking Wall Street comes and I fire up the machine Monday morning, nothing's there.
Yeah.
I'm like, damn, that's weird. Maybe it was a tech issue. The load was bad, right? Because I'm in, I know databases and all that. I'm like, okay, there was some kind of tech issue. So I wait for next week, nothing. I'm like, what the hell? I've been doing this for 60 freaking weeks. What changed? And then I finally reached out to an agent who I'd done dozens of deals with. And he goes, Michael, you're not going to believe this. I go, what? He goes, some freaking New Yorker came in and bought the whole tape. And Michael, they bought it at list price. They didn't even negotiate.
Right.
I'm like, man, that is wild. And then the world changed that day. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, man. So again, institutional investor, and it doesn't make sense. Even if they did force them to divest, it feels unconstitutional.
Oh, it'll be fought.
It's not realistic. And not only that, but it would crash markets, like you said, in places like Atlanta, Jacksonville. Not a good idea, but again, probably just a headline, right?
Yeah. Again, you've got to look at, I personally have to look at it as 2 ways. One is there's the political optus or gameship, which I hate. I hate all politicians. I think they're all slimy and dirty and, yada, yada. Some I hate more than other. Gavin Newsom, great example, but always dig on him. But, there's the political optics and they're going to play that game. And I got to play in between the lines and, but from a real estate perspective, nothing.
Yeah. Let's continue. Let's talk about, I thought this was probably the most impactful headline of the week, maybe even for the year so far, right? The first 2 weeks of the year. Talk about President Trump, $200 billion, What are mortgage-backed securities? Break that whole thing down. What happened?
Yeah. So the second announcement around this housing affordability was empowering or demanding, requiring, whatever word you want to use, Fannie and Freddie to deploy and purchase $200 billion in mortgage-backed securities.
Yep.
These are essentially a collection of mortgages, right? So a couple of things about MBS that you may not know as a casual viewer. If you want to know why people got 2% mortgage rates, it's because the Fed was a huge vacuum cleaner during the pandemic and bought all MBS. So that allowed the mortgage spreads to shrink to nearly nothing. And because they were just they would buy everything.
Right.
And that's why rates went down. So if you go back to, excuse me, if you go back to the end of the year, when we were talking about 2026, one thing I said on record was basically who's going to buy MBS? My guess was the Fed, right? New Fed president in May. They would want to do what their boss says, and they would suddenly buy MBS. That was my thought. I also thought there was a chance the Treasury could deploy and buy some MBS. I did not think Fannie and Freddie.
Yeah.
But this, to your point, was the biggest mover of the needle. And when this got announced Friday morning or Thursday evening, we saw mortgage rates go sub 6%. Now they've been repriced since, but again, that tells you what's coming.
Yep.
So we went to 5.99 Friday morning. And oh, by the way, what happened? Well, if you look at the weekly mortgage applications, they exploded higher. Refis were up 100% year on year. I think 118. Purchases was up 19. Yep. Right? It means we have seen 5.99 a couple of times over the last 18 months, and every time it's like a gun. Right? People fly off the sidelines. So, President Trump knows that, and he's going to do everything he can to get mortgage rates to that level. The interesting thing about banning institutions and buying 200 MBS, if you put a gun to my head, I would tell you that my guess is that President Trump thought banning Wall Street would be more meaningful than the 200 MBS. Like if he's thinking the chess moves on the board, he probably thinks banning Wall Street was a bigger deal. Now that we've seen the results, banning Wall Street's nothing and buying MBS is something. Why do I bring that up?
Yeah.
I think you've learned something about President Trump. Some is good, more is better. Yeah. So he sees something working and he's going to lean in hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
So expect more mandates for people to buy MBS. It's going to be wild to see what's coming. So
it is interesting too, in that to comment that because you understand the economy, because I'm, surfing on your wave, learning, how world economies and our economy works. Clearly, we know that mortgage-backed securities is an instant, it's a lever they pull and it just makes things happen. And it's interesting, though, that the average consumer probably was celebrating, going, oh, I don't have to compete with Wall Street anymore. I don't have to compete with Invitation Homes or, some of these big buyers. So it's also interesting, the average consumer, the mindset too, and that I think Trump is very crafty. He knows what he's doing when he's putting out these tweets and headlines and what they're doing. And so question, you expect, also you said something a week or two ago about Lance Lambert. Davos, has Davos happened already? Is Davos coming?
No, I think it's in a week. I think it's next week.
Yeah, and so are we going to expect more headlines? Are we going to expect some more levers pulled over the coming weeks or months?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously, we have a lot of other stuff going on that may be distraction, Iran, Greenland, other things. But yeah, I think there's a lot of housing announcements coming. I'll give you 3 that I would bet on.
Okay.
These are 3 that I would put money on.
Polymarket.
Yeah, let's say I had 1,000. Let's say I had $1,000 to play with. My first bet would be I would put $600 on a program aimed at first-time home buyers. I think that's a near certainty. Now, I couldn't tell you what's in it, but you can guarantee one of the things coming will be a program that says in big, bold letters, first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
Only.
Yep.
So that's coming. Something there. You could expect that. So that's $600. I feel that's a certainty. I'll take $300 and put something on builders. Now, for builders, I want to go extra granular. I believe we need a 1950s style GI bill to build entry-level housing. And I want to be very clear on what I think entry-level housing is. I think it's 1,100 square feet or smaller.
Mm.
So that stuff is unprofitable. I get it. With the land cost and regulations and zoning, it's impossible. That said, if you want to fix the housing market, you need to do hard things and you need to build entry-level housing. You just do. So I'm going to put it out there. That one feels a little bit wishful thinking, but frankly, it is the right answer. When I was at Resi Day last year, at the original Resi Day, and I was on stage in front of 300 housing experts, I was asked, what's my magic wand to fix housing? And I said, we've got to get the average housing size down, right? At the time, it was 2,300 square feet. I think it's 2,100 now. The average square foot build in America has got to go, it has to go to like 1,800 or 1,700, which means we're building a lot smaller homes. It has to stop being 2,200 square feet, 4,000 square feet. That's not where most people start, right? Most people don't start in their forever home. So I'm going to take $300 and put it on something for builders, specifically entry-level homes. And then the $100 flyer, this is the one that is big time wishful thinking.
Yeah.
But I think he needs to come out and dramatically increase the capital gains exception for owner-occupied homes. Today, that exception stands at 250 grand single and 500 grand married.
Yeah.
I believe that needs to go to 1 million and 2 million.
Wow.
If that happens, you will see movement in some very stuck markets.
Interesting.
And more importantly, just think about where we are, right? We're in California. Think about Palo Alto, California.
Right.
Some of the most expensive dirt on the planet.
Yeah.
There are teachers and, ex-principals and all these folks that live in these houses because they bought them 50 years ago.
Yeah.
They're probably worth $3 or $4 million now. They bought them for 37 grand or whatever, but they can't move.
Right.
They can't move. They'll pay like $1 million in taxes.
Yep.
So now if you get rid of that exception and they can move, they'll sell that to some tech executive and then they'll take all their cash and they'll go buy a condo somewhere.
Yeah.
Probably 2 condos. Shit.
Yep.
If you got that much money, go buy 2 condos.
Yeah.
So I think that, and if you want to go one extra sprinkle, if he does something, the other thing again, so here's a big flyer. I haven't said this yet, but I'll put $10 on this because this would be wild. I'll put $10 on this. I'll throw an extra $10 on the pot. Just
I know what you're gonna do. You go for it. Go. This is gonna be good.
If he goes to investors like me and
That
says,
was the one.
If you sell your home, which I own more than one, to a first-time home buyer, you also get capital gains exception.
Yep.
I have to tell you, in all honesty, if that happened, I can probably think of 5 or 6 homes I would sell today.
Yeah. Yep. That's the one. That, just so you know, that I was waiting. You could just see my excitement. I'm waiting because it's funny, and this will show my personality. I would put all $1,000 because I know it's 1,000 to 1, but it would be the landlord inventory initiative. I even got a name for it. Right?
That's a good name.
Inventory initiative, which would be landlords can sell 1 property per year, tax exempt, no depreciation recapture.
Yeah.
And then they probably put a cap based on your state, like
area median.
California. California is $1 million. If it's Nevada, it's whatever. If it's Arizona, they cap it. But I'll go, and it pays 1,000 to 1. I'll put my all 1,000 only because I think it's the right thing because we need more inventory.
Yeah. If you want to, well, again, if you really want to think about unlocking first-time homebuyer homes, it's investors like us who gobbled up a bunch of stuff in the past.
Yeah.
So yeah, that would be fun. And I love it. The fact that I'm going to put $10 on it. You put 1,000. That shows our,
I lost all my cryptocurrency money already. So.
There you go.
I'm just kidding. I'm being playful. So let's talk about school. School, obviously, folks, you need to get involved with school. It's the best $20. You're going to waste $20 today on coffee and a muffin and whatever. Talk about school and what you're doing there.
Yeah, so I think there's a couple of things. We're back to doing our Sunday sessions. I basically took December off. My daughter was in town and getting ready for the event and all of that. So we haven't done one in a while. We've got the next 2 scheduled. So the one on this Sunday will be Jonathan Twomley. He's a returning guest on the channel for multiple years. But the multifamily space, B and C quality stuff is changing. So if you want to talk to somebody who's deep in that, who's owned thousands of units, raised tens of millions of dollars, he will be on the show. The Zoom is already posted in school. So again, that will be there. Again, this is open Q&A, right? This is for you to come in and ask questions of somebody who's a practitioner. And I'll be there as well, obviously, so we can both answer questions. And then the following Sunday, we've got Rich Somers coming on, somebody who does boutique hotels.
Yeah, Rich.
Right? Yeah, Rich is fun. So he asked to come back on, and we're going to have Rich on next Sunday. So whatever that would be, the 20-something. Go ahead.
Can I make a request in that do not post them on YouTube? You've got to be a member of school to see these.
Works for me.
That's the value. That's really the value, because you're going to get not even insider, but you're going to be there, be able to live answer questions to the guests. But number two is you've got a library of content that's not available. And believe me, there's plenty of content here on this channel. And I know you're such a go-giver, but for this, folks, you need to spend the $20. Get involved with the school community. It will change your life. Michael, continue. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, I think that's absolutely, I've always thought the value was asking the questions.
Yep.
And then I would post the videos because I'm trying to attract more people, right? It's no secret. I think we have the best platform on the planet with school and everyday wealth builders. But yeah, I have no problem keeping them. I have no problem keeping them just inside school. I could do that. Yeah.
Let's talk about, now here's the thing. I'm going to see you in I feel like it's 3 weeks. It might be 4 weeks from today.
Sure. Yeah, about 4 weeks.
Super excited. It's the 3rd annual celebration. The One Rental at a Time community comes together. We're going to be in Las Vegas. I can't wait. And I'm going to do this. I know that you were closing the cart. And
I was actually doing it. It was closed. It was supposed to be closed last night at midnight.
No.
I was going to do it after this event because
No, you can't. And here's the thing, and let me just tell you, I've had a couple of people tell me, "Hey, are you going? Are you going to Michael's thing and a thing in Vegas?" And I said, "Of course I'm going. Are you going to be there? I'm looking forward to seeing you." You're like, "Well, I didn't buy my ticket." And I'm like, "Dude, buy your ticket. Buy your ticket, Michael. I'm going to twist your arm here. You need to leave the card open. I know there's at least 8, 12, 15 people that need to be there, that absolutely, I know there's a few of you like me. By the way, I haven't booked my hotel yet either, because I'm not sure. Do I want to stay at the casino somewhere nice? Is my wife coming? I'm still trying to convince her, but I'm going to be there no matter what.
Right.
Can you leave the card open? Can we put another push for another? I know there's at least 3 or 4 people I know that are going to buy their tickets. Can I twist your arm? Leave the card open for how long, please?
So no. So I don't want to leave the card open because I have, again, the reason I closed the cart yesterday it was going to be in 10 minutes, right? Once this call was done, it was the next thing I was going to do. Is because I have things I need to do around event seat. I even spend like $3,000 buying cushions for the chairs. Yeah. Right. So lots of things I need to buy have a head count. And land. It's just all this stuff.
Catering, how many cupcakes?
Exactly. Okay. Everything. So yeah. So no, I don't want to leave it open.
Dude, come on, man. Come on. I know that there's people that are maybe last minute people. You've got to leave it. I'm going to twist your arm. Leave the card open.
How about this? How about
24 hours, 36 hours, 48 hours? You got to do it. There's people right now in the comments right now. Leave the card open. Leave the card open. Leave the card open. You got to do it.
How about this? So I know exactly how many people have purchased because I see it.
Okay.
Maybe tell me if this would be an okay, I don't know, exception. Okay. What I'll do is, so I can reduce the tickets to say 10 or maybe 20 more. And that will just be the cap.
They're gone.
And then the system turns off I don't have to do anything else. So what that will mean
okay.
I have nothing else to do.
Okay.
So we'll just use fake numbers. Let's assume we sold 300 tickets. I could say 320 is the cap and then the system turns off by itself. But at least knowing 320 is the max, I'm only risking 20 seats. So 20 cushions, 20 chairs.
And you can buy, you'll buy them even if you end up people take
Yeah.
2 home or whatever. You give them away at the end.
Yeah, 20s.
Okay.
So
do it. 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. Come on. Yeah. Leave the card open, cap it at 20 more, leave it open. Folks, you need
we'll do a count. We'll do a countdown.
You need to be at this event. Go ahead, please. I'm sorry.
I will risk $20. I figure that's food, chairs, lanyards, 20.
That's like a little bit of, yeah.
It's like $3,500. So it's not zero,
it's not
right?
change. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actual
but I'll
cost.
risk actual cost. I'll risk $20. I'll go into the system right after this. I will lower it to 20. So we'll just do a countdown. The last 20 tickets. It'll just be a countdown to the last 20, because at that point the system turns off and there's nothing. The beauty is I don't have to do anything. So I know what my cap is, and I could do everything I need to do versus leaving it wide open, because we could have done 400 in this example. So now it'll just be 320 and we're done. I can do
20, 20, 20. Let's do it, folks. Get your tickets. Come on, get to Vegas, get your tickets. The beauty is it's off strip. So if you don't want to, you can stay at a regular hotel, non-casino, non-cigarette smoke. It's a great event. The amazing networking. We're going to have lunch, dinner, lunch. We're going to have celebration, great networking, almost like a little party on Saturday night. It feels like.
Yeah, it is on purpose. Yeah, we do a part. Dinner and a party. Yeah. Saturday. Yeah,
the best networking, people from the show, all the people from the show, all your experts, all your millionaires. Such a great event. Folks, get there. It's President's Day weekend. That is the weekend, 13, 14, 15. The event is actually on the 13th and the 14th, Saturday and Sunday.
14th and 15th.
14th and 15th, excuse me. The 14th and 15th, Saturday and Sunday. Correct. You want to be in that room. I know there's a few of you, because I haven't booked my hotel either, because I'm like, casino, no casino. Anyway, folks, get yourself to the event. Michael, thank you for all that you do.
I could always lean on you to
I got you.
Twist my arm.
I got you again, didn't I?
You did. You did get me again. You did.
I got you again. Okay. All right.
I owe
you.
All right, man. Take care of yourself.
Okay.
Book your hotel, damn it.
I know, right? Yeah. It's like